how to set up your BumiFlow multi-cloud runtime. This is taken from the BumiFlow documentation, which is found on the help page on help.bumi.com. This will be short videos going through the steps, setting it up, using the Docker Compose, assigning a tenant to the multi-cloud environment, and also publishing a flow to the multi-cloud environment. This video will not go into details about the prerequisites. The first thing to do is that you need to be able to log into Flow as an admin and generate a token that you will have to use to set up your multi-cloud environment. In Flow, click on the settings button at the top, click on organizations, and on the menus you will see local runtimes. Click on the local runtime and then click on new local runtime and give it a name that you want to use for your local runtime environment. Once you've typed the name there, you can at this point add a tenant to the local runtime that you're creating. You can do it here now or you can add it later. So I already have a tenant and I will just add this to it and create a local runtime so I can get a token to set up. So I did a search and I'm adding this tenant to the local runtime. And then on the bottom right corner, you just click the create new local runtime connection, and that will give you a server key or a token. And as the instruction says, this is a one-time key that expires within 24 hours. Copy this and keep it in a safe location. And then we'll use this in our Docker Compose file to run and install the local runtime. Click on Done. And once again, when you click on the local runtimes on the settings page, you see that you have your local runtime connection name there. The version and the status will be populated once you have set it up, run it, and it's successfully connected. And also it tells you the number of tenant that is shared within the local runtime. So now that I have my server key, use this to run my multi-cloud environment. And in the documentation, you can see there is a sample Docker Compose file which you can use to set it up for your test purpose, or you can modify it for your production environment. So it's important that you look at this and also make sure you have all the information required. For example, your database, your host name, your base URL, installation key, and the port. So I will switch over to my Docker Compose file, where on the right side I will have the file and my server key um, placed in there, and I have my database configured for it to connect to the multi-cloud environment. I will save this, and on the left I will run my Docker Compose. So you can see that it is already going to the Flow Docker environment to get the tag which I have put in my Docker Compose file. Essentially, you need the latest release tag and always make sure you keep up to date with it. But all information is in the documentation page. So once the installation is complete, where the Docker Compose has pulled up all the artifacts for the release tag in a Docker Compose file, you should have it running. And in this case, what you can tell from this to know that it's run successfully sends a ping to the Flow cloud. So when you see the ping success in your log, you know that you've set up your local runtime successfully at this point. Docker PS container setup. So the container name, that's the tag that I use, is the latest Flow, and then I have my web service and the port, everything all set up correctly. This is the Flow latest that's tag that I used. Once you set up successfully, when you come back or when you go back to your Flow page, settings tab, and then under local runtime, you should see that the runtime connection that we created now has got a version associated with it, and also the status says that it's online. So this gives us to the store so that the setup has been successful and is running successfully. So in the next video, we'll go through publishing a flow to this local runtime that we set up. Thank you, and I hope this is helpful.